What is up, everybody? Liam Murphy back to rip 2 drafts today at the same time. Going to be drafting on Underdog and DraftKings as soon as those, Underdog and Drafters as soon as that fills. Going to be drafting a marathon and Drafters. So doing the same type of contest, which is a total points contest. Of course, I wrote an article recently on what makes a top scoring team. And I just had to clear my cache in order to log into Underdog. So I have to log back into all these sites. Give me one moment. Okay. But yeah, if you haven't seen this article yet, it is free with a free subscription. It's also only $99 for the year to get up and running. What draft? I am in a marathon. Need 4 more there. And a drafter. So going to be 2 tabling the total points contest today. The difference is Underdog is 18 rounds. Drafters is 20. Underdog is half point PPR. Drafters is full point PPR. So yeah, highly recommend you check out this team. It kind of, we went through it before, but people probably haven't seen it. I looked at the top teams. I looked at how those teams invested in the positions. I looked at what kind of players were commonly on some teams and made some conclusions there at the end. For those who subscribe to the site, we'll have fresh rankings coming out tomorrow. In the meantime, I wanted to talk about some tweets I put out. I think it's helpful. This is the winning draft board for my BBM2 team. I am the JT Aaron Jones start here. Might be hard for you to see. But it went JT, Aaron Jones, Amari Cooper, Jamar Chase, Josh Allen, Chase Claypool, Tyler Boyd, Damian Harris. And what I wanted to point out, and is particularly helpful maybe for those who do tilt easily, or even, dare I say, cry, is notice I went Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, 2 Cincinnati players. And then 1 pick before me in the 8th round, this guy took Joe Burrow, unstacked. So clearly something I would never do. I'm not going to just take a quarterback unstacked unless he's an extreme ADP value. He probably wasn't that year. This guy's just like Joe Burrow goes Burrow. And, what I said in the tweet is a funny tidbit from my winning Best Ball Mania 2 team. After taking Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, some guy grabbed naked Joe Burrow 1 pick before me. The naked means he's just unstacked. Rather than tilting, I simply took Damian Harris, knowing I didn't need the quarterback to benefit from the stack, who was a big part of the team. Damian Harris had some key playoff weeks that year, even contributed in week 17. So yeah, a little reminder out there that you don't need the quarterback to benefit from team stacking, right? If I have Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd, and in this case, Jamar Chase literally went for 50 points. Joe Burrow was the QB1 week 17. Josh Allen was not. He scored 24 points. Joe Burrow scored roughly 35. Even that 11-point gap, which I would say is significant, was not enough to prevent me from winning. Because I nutted out at the skill positions, the positions that matter way more to separate. It is simply hard to separate at the QB position unless you are literally scoring 40 points or more, and the field is only putting in roughly 20 points. Now you've really separated, right? Now you've really separated by 20 points. But when Jamar Chase scores 50 and another good wide receiver score that week is 20, now you've separated by 30 points, right? So the quarterbacks, they're just the least important part of the stack to me. It's why I am more prone to push it around. Hope a quarterback falls a full round. If, say, I have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins already, I'm not going to take Joe Burrow in the 70s too many times because I know he will be there in the 90s in most rooms. And some drafters err on the other side. They're like, I got to get my stacks. The team's ruined if I don't. No, that's not how I operate. Shout out MH. He said he used my drafters bonus code. Yeah, use promo code Cheslium and become a YouTube member like MH here. Where he said, I signed up for drafters and got the bonus. It's available in all 50 states, I believe. So some people asked about Maine. Yeah, you can use promo code Cheslium to get up and running on drafters. I'll put that in the chat for you guys. Get a $100 bonus. Of course, you can use the same thing for Underdog, but a lot more people are up and running on Underdog. A nice thing about drafters is it almost certainly will overlay again. I'm in the drafters championship. Need 3 more for that one, and two more people for the marathon. Also going to be going on with Pete tonight over on his channel, so you can check that out later. Also, if you're feeling generous and you like these free streams, please subscribe. I'm on the road to 5K. Another tweet I put out. Sometimes I put out polls just because I'm curious, and I said, choose your warrior. And it's kind of interesting because I've seen how this tweet has evolved. And obviously, in the beginning, the people voting largely follow me. And I would say the people that follow me on Twitter are going to err on the sharper side of fantasy football versus someone who follows, say, I don't know, Matthew Berry, who's much bigger, right? Obviously has a way more casual crowd than someone like me. I just got a lot of hardcore people. But how the order is now was literally the opposite after the first 500 votes. James Cook was the number 1 guy, then Joe Mixon, then White, then Kamara was a far distant 4th. Then the casual side got on, and they're like, Alvin Kamara, are you effing kidding me? This guy used to go in the first round. So it's just kind of funny to see how that's evolved. The marathon did fill. Again, this is a total points at the 106 here. Still need 2 more for drafters. Promo code Chesliam to get up and running there. So that's kind of funny. I didn't even notice that. I also put out a poll. How many running backs will be on the winner of BBM 5 in the first 6 rounds? 1 running back is leading there. And then here's some actionable information. I don't always put out just free EV on Twitter. There's not a lot of incentive to grow on Twitter versus a platform like YouTube or my site. We did fill in drafters as well, doing our 60-second draft out of the 10 hole there. So we'll be 2-tabling these. Let's make our pick here in Underdog. Yeah, I think that's just a clear Amon-Ra for us. At the 106, I want to be building wide receiver strong teams. Amon-Ra plays in 12 dome games this year, attached to the Lions in an elite offense. And you almost never get him past the 106. So I've heard some people, on the sharp side, and what's going on right now, just kind of lay the land, in my opinion, is there's not a lot of clearly bad picks, especially amongst wide receivers in fantasy football land. So what you got is you got people trying to find some reason to fade some players. Compared to last year's, I think there was a lot more clear fades. I mean, I outright faded first round picks 3 years running. I'm not doing that this year because I think the market has corrected. Last year I faded Kelsey and Eckler. The year that Alvin Kamara and Zeke were the 103 and 104, and Henry was the 102. I faded all 3 of those dudes. Outright faded, 0%. I'm not doing that this much this year, but what I've heard some people have been like, Khalil Shakir's not that good, or Curtis Samuel's not that good, or the whole Bills passing team's going to stink. The Bills will be bad. The Bills will win 4 games or something. And so I kind of outlined that here. Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel aren't good, so they're fading best ball, even though they're attached to the Bills. And I am more of a top-down offense guy. We know that the teams that, this is just really basic shit here, but keeping it simple is sometimes good. Good teams score touchdowns. You need those in fantasy football. So I am not as much as some people, some sharp people even, will be like, well, this guy's going to get a 28% target per route run. And I'll be like, yeah, but they play for the Desmond Ridder Falcons, or Yeah, but their quarterback is, whoever, Justin Fields or whatever. So my counterpoint to these Bills guys aren't good is I said, and this is, I think Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir are two potential skeleton keys this year where they are at the end of the wide receiver tier. So they go after the Deontay Johnson. They go after all of the guys you feel good about. They're kind of around guys like Tyler Lockett, Mike Williams. This is like the last Romeo Dobbs. These are like some of the last wide receivers we feel pretty confident could turn in a big week. And it's where a lot of people start drafting running backs who started zero wideout. On the Amon-Ra team, Olave's solid ADP value. He's really not my favorite dude in the world playing for the Saints. So we're going to do Deebo Samuel, plays for the 49ers. We are 4 picks away here in drafters. But my counterpoint to these guys aren't good is these are Gabe Davis's stat lines the past 2 years. Roughly 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's an awesome season in best ball, especially half-point PPR. 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's winning you weeks, right? That's hitting your lineup in weeks. That's giving you 20-point games. Gabe Davis's ESPN analytics grade, not amongst wide receiver and tight wideouts. We're on the clock here at drafters. Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, like them both, but I'm a big Puka guy. I think Garrett Wilson and Puka are both in contention for wideout 1 at the back end, so I want to be taking them quite a bit. Gabe Davis's ESPN analytics grade amongst wideouts. Wide receiver 116th in 2022. Wide receiver 81 in 2023. Here's Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel's ESPN analytics grades. Samuel was better than Davis in both years. Wide receiver 89 and wide receiver 76. Shakir is a big-time borderline elite wideout, according to ESPN. Wide receiver 36, and then wide receiver 24 last year. And I included some images here for you to look at. These numbers by category, these 3 numbers here, or 4 numbers. You can't really see the 4th there because my arrow's hiding it. On the clock in drafters. Let's go big game Nico. Hope that Nico has some huge games, part of the Texans. Drake London's fine, but I obviously prefer betting on the Texans. I think the Falcons have questionable downside too in the years where Kirk doesn't really fully recover. And I said, I don't really care how good you are if you're going to catch 7 touchdowns, right? So, I feel like some people definitely get too cute. There's also at least one metric saying Shakir is actually good, and Samuel's still better than Davis, who produced without impressive grades. Those numbers, by the way, are first your open score, then your catchability, then your yak, and then overall. I also linked here if you want to read more about it. Kincaid, by the way, also scored very well in ESPN Analytics amongst wide receivers and tight ends. He was number 35, right behind Travis Kelce. So you have a super valuable offense that will unquestionably be elite to me if Josh Allen is healthy. And it's very cheap. Very, very cheap compared to other teams. Kincaid, 4th and 5th round pick, simply because he's a tight end. Coleman is now like a 7th round pick. And then Shakir and Curtis Samuel are 9th and 10th. And what's nice is it's ambiguous, so let's keep the theme of good teams. Let's go with Devonta Smith this time. Get a part of the Eagles. Fun wide receiver core of Amon-Ra, Deebo, and Devonta Smith. We got Puka and Nico over here. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know, what are we doing here? Gabe Davis is not... Why have I always drafted Gabe Davis is he's like a quintessential best ball guy. I think Samuel and Shakir have room to be far more than Gabe ever was, right? You got no Stephon Diggs, who was questionable last year anyways. So when you have Josh Allen, I think taking Shakir and Samuel are like musts. And even without, I really like them as like your wide receiver 5, wide receiver 4 sometimes. and just trying to get still solid production without quite the investment. Having a Coors, no, this is a kombucha. Someone on the Bills is going to absolutely smash. Just tough to know which one. And, Black Money River here is kind of speaking to market sentiment as a whole, which is people do not like betting on ambiguity, right? Like, why is the Bengals backfield free? Because we don't know who it is. Why is the Cowboys backfield free? Because we don't know who it is. People are fearful of maybe taking a 0, which, we have to think about what we're trying to do here. We're trying to win tournaments. So you should be leaning into ambiguity because we know value will come from it. This had 0 to do with take Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis this year, I think, is a different bet, right? This year, Gabe Davis is drawing live to be the 4th target in Jacksonville. You got Ingram, Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., and then Gabe. That's not the same thing as being the 2nd target in Buffalo. Let's go Kyron. Even having Puka, I think Kyron anchor teams, like, especially for a total points contest where you don't even need him to be the guy the full year, could be a skeleton key. I think like Kyron and Achane in particular are the 2 guys I like as your 3rd round hero running back. Just extremely high weekly outcomes and season long outcomes for both of them. Will you target Laporta, Potty? Okay, we got a hater here with St. Brown. Tough click. Kincaid and McBride are better. Are we talking about for playoff week contests or total points? Because they are different animals, right? I think for a total points contest, it's not as good to go Amon-Ra and Laporta on the same team, especially in the 3rd round, because they inherently compete for targets. Let's get Kelsey here. I don't take Kelsey a lot in extreme ADP value. I kind of thought he'd hover around here, but he does. He is climbing to the 2-3 turn on some PPR sites, so I get plenty of the older guys. Obviously would have liked Mahomes here, but this guy had to get naked Mahomes. And then here, we're also in the 4th round. I'm kind of warming to George Pickens. He's a guy I was like pretty out on, but he produced with Justin Fields. But we're not going to do him here. We're going to let's do Kirk. Piece of Jacksonville's pretty nice. Ambiguous enough. Kirk, I think at worst will be the 2nd target on his team. Most likely he'll be the 1st. And Jacksonville could run hot in the touchdown department compared to past years where, Trevor only threw for 21 touchdowns last year. Let's get him to 30. He's capable of doing a Dak year, right? Dak 36 last year. Any of the guys really like in that range, like Dak, Joe, blah, blah, blah. It's all about how many touchdowns do they throw. Thoughts on T. Higgins after he signed the franchise tag? That didn't change my opinion of him. I always thought he would be a Bengal. Just like I think Brandon Ayuk will continue to be a 49er. I think he's a pretty solid pick in the 4th round. I do take him sometimes. He falls occasionally to the 5th. It's kind of nice to get scoop that ADP value. And yeah, I don't think he's like the most talented wideout in the world, right? Like I think he's like a better Gabe Davis. He's a little bit better of like a Mike Williams. So the archetype of the wideout is big jump ball dude, not a big separator, right? Whereas, who separates more? Like Kirk. Kirk is he's not a jump ball guy, but he's going to separate. He's going to draw targets. So T. Higgins is a huge byproduct of Joe Burrow, but I like taking byproducts of Joe Burrow. So I think he's like almost all wideouts are worth the gamble here. Used your code on drafters. Those rooms get much wilder than Underdog. There's definitely some wildness happening in drafters, particularly with QBs, where the variance on where like CJ Stroud will go in the 90s occasionally, just like very random things like that. It's sharper in some ways, but definitely wilder in others. The Jacksonville O line is terrible. I disagree there. The Jacksonville O line was terrible last year. They have tried to improve it. Now, could it be terrible? Yes, but they traded for a really good guard last year. They signed Mitch Morse, the Bills center, who's still good. He's got like concussion problems, but he's serviceable. So, and we saw Stroud produce with a terrible line, by the way. So we don't need Trevor to have a top O line. We just need him to be closer to an average O line because he was one of the worst last year. Well, we're on the clock on both places. Let's take Richardson a shot at the QB1 and Kelsey a shot at the tight end 1. And let's go Richardson again, right? Why not? So we got 4 wideouts plus a shot at QB1. Obviously, quarterback points are worth more in Underdog, half-point PPR site. I don't feel the need to stack Richardson really at all when I take him. I will stack him when convenient, but it's not a guy I prioritize stacking with just because if Richardson's QB1, it's because he's rushed for 15 or so touchdowns. So this team, we went with 2 wideouts to fill 2 of our 3 wideout spots most of the year. We went with Kyron Williams, hoping to get, what is Deontay Johnson's ADP doing up here? He's not that high on Underdog, is he? Whatever. Let's grab Hopkins this time. Plays in the same division as Richardson, so we get a little bit of division correlation there. He's really gotten expensive. I have a lot of 80 round him. Wise saying that Brandon Thorne ranked Jags O-line number 21. Jags upgraded their center position with the addition of Mitch Morse. Yeah, that's what I said, but they also traded for Ezra Cleveland, I believe his name is, in the middle of the year from the Vikings, and he was a good guard, right? So that's 2 interior O-line. Like if you're going to upgrade your O-line, the interior O-line is the easiest upgrade because it's pretty easy to find good guards. And so if you go from terrible guards to good guards, that's a big upgrade. Like that's what the Panthers did. The Panthers purchased 2 good guards. And some quarterbacks absolutely cannot deal with pressure up the middle. But, 21 is a far cry from being 32nd. 21, you're close to average. Ezra Cleveland is probably below average. Brother, he is a big upgrade from what they had. I would not be betting on the Titans to win the Super Bowl. I do think they are fun clicks, though, in fantasy. So clearly for this team, we're going to start hitting running back, find a couple tight ends. I got an article coming out on tight ends, maybe even tomorrow, if not the next day. Why do I have to do you like that? Brother, do not jump in my drafts with me when I'm streaming and think that I'm not one of those streamers who gives away free EV. I'm trying to EV maximize always. And my advance rate in stream drafts is actually pretty good, which obviously stream drafts you would assume are harder to beat on average compared to a random room because those people are consuming content. And in some cases, like for me, they're literally listening to what I say. So I have to not reveal my rankings or not be like, I want this guy. This is probably not good for total points, by the way. Josh and Lamar, just way too much invested at the QB position. Makes it really tough. Only one wide receiver through 12 rounds, too. Like, almost certainly drawing dead. Let's do it again. Hopkins. Now we got Richardson, Kirk, and Hopkins all in the AFC South. Of course, a little bit of division correlation is nice because they play each other 2 games. It's like the same theory of a Week 17 game stack, but you get more benefit from it. And the nice thing about Hopkins or Ridley is both of them are drawing extremely live to be their team's #1 target. And that's like arbitrage Mike Evans from last year, who was a smash. The Mahomes guy on drafters didn't grab anyone. That's not surprising. Often when you see a drafter rip a naked quarterback way above their ADP, I mean, taking Mahomes above Allen by itself is terrible. Those people are not stackers in general. No offense, Jay Driver. Which Week 17 bringback game is the best? I'm going to have an article out on that. So Stroud would be nice here in the 80s, but let's see if there's anyone. Yeah, I mean, same buy as Richardson is what makes it actually bad. Fuck it. Let's eat a 0. Let's eat a 0 and still win. What I'm saying is I'm going 2 QB. I'm stopping at 2. I'm eating a 0 Week 14, and we're still winning the contest. 2 years ago, the top scoring team on drafters, again, this is free on the article, 8-0 2 weeks. He had Hurts, and he had Zach Wilson, and this team here, Hurts, Zach Wilson, and he lived eating a 0 2 weeks. I mean, maybe I'll add a third quarterback if there's a guy that really sticks out for me. Obviously, that doesn't have a Week 14 bye, but most likely we're just going to ride it. All right, let's go Curtis Samuel. And then over here, what pick are we? Pick 78. Keon Coleman is like a pretty big tier gap over these wideouts for me, except for Rashee Rice, obviously. So gonna grab him, and I think maybe even stop at 6 wideouts. So we got Richardson in 6 over here. Coleman's obviously a swing upside. And then over here, we went with Curtis Samuel over one of the running backs. Like, I like these running backs, Swift, Warren, Moss, those 3 in particular. But wide receiver particularly dries up pretty quick. Curtis Samuel, we just talked about, is a swing upside with the ambiguity. We already have Kyron Williams. So with this team, we're really like, we have strong quarterback play. We have strong tight end play in hopes. We have decent wideout play. We have a guy who's in the contention to be the top scoring running back. He's got downside, but doesn't advance rate increase with 7 to 8 plus wide receiver though? Yeah, that's the type of historical research which I would say is actually detrimental to your game. If you're going into it and being like, oh, I need to build like this because it helps my advance rate. First off, I'm not really an advance rate guy. Second off, I mean, we're doing total points contests right now. We're not doing advance rate contests. Second off, you could be reading research that applies to a 20-round site. This is an 18-round site. Third off, you need to take into account how you invest. So in this case, 6 of my 7 picks to start the draft were wideouts. So I'm not likely to add another one. I'm going to want to, I've invested heavily at the wideout position, and I'm going to draft like I'm right. I'm trying to build the highest scoring team in the whole contest. If there's a seventh guy that makes sense to me, or I feel really strong at running back, I feel really strong at tight end, QB2, okay, then maybe. But yeah, I don't really care about descriptive nature in that sense. Double fisting draft, let's go. Hey. Just grab a third quarterback? Maybe. 2 QB, I think, is overwhelmingly dominant for trying to build a top 10 team. All right, let's go Pollard. Pollard and Spears, two dudes I view pretty similar. They go right next to each other in this draft. Over here, let's grab Swift as our first running back. High upside swing on the Bears. He's probably being overly discounted due to the lack of touchdowns last year. The Bears are a good team, in my opinion, and it's quite likely that they're run heavy by the goal line. Caleb Williams, rookie year. Stefan hit me with a well, actually. I don't think it's terrible to take Mahomes over Allen if you took Kelsey at the end of the third and Mahomes in the fourth. In general, it is terrible. And also, this guy did none of those things. And ask the people who were taking Mahomes over Josh Allen last year how that went. Literally, this is how bad the fantasy football market was last year. Mahomes won the Super Bowl, and so people went, QB1 won the Super Bowl. Totally ignoring who was on the team with him. Totally ignoring that he is a near zero in the rushing department compared to a Josh Allen or Hurts. He was a very easy fade with all that. Let's take Brian Robinson, a third running back I feel pretty good about. I like his touchdown upside, pace up Washington. And gives me three, it's nice when you have 4 wideouts and 3 running backs you feel good about because all are drawing live to fill your roster spots and the flex. Yeah, and the last thing I'll say on Mahomes is of course I like Mahomes more this year with the improvement of his weapons. It's still bad in general to take him over Josh Allen, who people try to find a way to outsmart themselves every year on. And but obviously, yeah, if you do take Kelsey and you take Mahomes, that's a different story because you're trying to correlate your bets. How are you handling injured/suspended players in total points contests? Well, we don't have any clarity on any suspensions right now. Like Rashee Rice is a projection. Whether he gets suspended or not, I still draft him. Injured players, I've not been really taking in any contest at this point in the year. There's still time to change that, but I don't really see a big reason to gamble on the Nick Chubbs and the TJ Hawkinsons of the world. And I think they're especially bad picks for total points contests. All right, let's go Brock and be done at quarterback. There's really just no one sticking out to me. So Richardson and Brock makes a fun duo. Brock obviously stacks with Debo. So yeah, I like how this team's coming together on Underdog. Why doesn't anyone take Hawks backup, Jason Oliver? I don't think his name is Jason. I think it's Josh. Can't he be somewhat relevant in the 18th round? Yeah, I've looked into him, actually. I think he is a okay dart. I had a high-stakes team the other day where I almost took him because I had J.J. McCarthy with no one. Eric Lupkin says, there's been a few times I've drafted while on an edible, so I've labeled those teams with an E. I feel like I've created some monsters. Laughing face. Labeling so I can actually see how they actually turn out. I'm a big proponent of drafting under all mindsets. So thank you for sharing that, Eric. And I am looking forward to seeing how those turn out. I mean, I can't even deny, maybe I was on the devil's lettuce when I drafted the winning BBM2 team. So you're in good company. I love the scientific documentation, though. That's just great. Man, wide receiver really is dead by now. So we're just going to have to try to make that up with volume. I'm going to take Zeke. I'm not a Javante guy. I mean, maybe I should have taken Javante just because of the extreme ADP value, but in general, I just don't like him. I don't particularly like Zeke, but I do like that Zeke plays for the Cowboys and not the Broncos. But yeah, I mean, that was around the cost where I think it was fine to take Javante. And with this collection of 4, I think I'm stopping at 5 total running backs. I'm not in love with steaming up some of these guys because, like Burton and Polk in particular, I was drafting in the 180s early on. So let's take Schultz and be done at tight end. Stacks with Stroud. Athletic enough. Again, I got a tight end article coming out. Let's share this too, in case anyone doesn't know. We're live right now. So yeah, this team is uncomfortable in the sense that I took an early tight end, I took some running backs early, and my wide receiver room is looking not strong enough to win. But we're gonna try to make it up with volume. Pick 115. Yeah, I like Goddard. Goddard, I was pretty loud about last year being a bad pick in the 7th round. But now he's in the 10th round. Really nothing has changed, and that's just a way more palatable of a cost. Like I think I like him straight up over Njoku. Another piece of a good offense. So Goddard makes a great tight end one. You think Ertz should be getting drafted more than he is? No, I do not. What is devil lettuce? Weed! In my best Stephen A. Smith impression. Heard Tanyan is the tight end to take a look at in Minnesota. Yeah, that's the thing about gambling on Hawkinson backups is you could be wrong on who it is. Joseph saying, I should draft some more edible teams. We're all coming together to learn here, guys. Let me know in the YouTube comments if you are partaking in the edible teams. Thoughts on Andrews? Do we fade him? Are you talking about Mark Andrews? He's not a fade for me because I like elite tight end in general. But yeah, and how this is ranked is roughly how I have it ranked. He's after Kincaid for me. He's after McBride for me. Andrews is still good. He's just like, we just got question marks on his health, which I'm a little bit more worried about than most. And I'm taking a lot of Zay Flowers, so I'm directly leveraging off of Andrews. What a community we've built here. I think Pitts smashes Andrews. Yeah, I'm really high on Pitts and George Kittle. I don't understand why the market, like, my initial rankings had all these tight ends at the 2-3 turn, and then I capitulated and I put them in the 4th round. And now I want to bake an ADP somewhat, so I've capitulated even more and like lowered Kittle a little bit, but I don't feel worse about him. And I still, like, he's a piece of San Fran's offense. I want the Ravens to go Gronk Hernandez offense with likely minus the crime. Thanks for letting us know, Pepper Tony. Particularly the crime denunciation. All right, let's go Chase Brown. Chase Brown compared to Zeke is drawing far more live to be a 0 in my opinion, but I really like him as a huge upside swing where I think it will be Moss as the goal line back, but if somehow is the guy there, he's an athletic freak, so the upside is huge. All right, now we're at the part of the draft where we kind of just have to plug our nose and start taking some wideouts. But first we're going to take our 5th and last running back, which is going to be Jalen Wright. Huge upside swing, biggest back on the Dolphins, fast as hell. Any Dolphins running back fits the bill as an upside swing. Mostert and Achane, injury prone. And also like this wide receiver group is just meh. There's like no one who I'm like, oh no, I missed out on Darnell Mooney, so. And then either finishing with 7 wideouts or maybe 6, and we'll add that 3rd quarterback. Going to tight end, having Kelsey and Schultz, that is more than enough at tight end. Kelsey, obviously, I need to be roughly the tight end 1. And Schultz, just have a good year with the Texans. I think Balt uses more 2 tight end sets. Oh, uses the most 2 tight end sets. That seems unlikely. They were not too tight end heavy last year, but it's definitely possible. Yeah, I think Darnell Mooney is a fine addition to this team. You're kind of just hoping he is a 85% of what Jordan Addison was, where Drake London is Justin Jefferson, Kyle Pitts is TJ Hawkinson, and Darnell Mooney is Jordan Addison, right? So not the craziest swing and upside. Should win down the field. Has previously had a really solid season. Was terrible last year. Let's see how he chalked in at ESPN Analytics. I'm going to guess not favorably. I can't find that link right now, so we will scroll. Oh, yeah, I also said it's pretty interesting. Josh Allen's ADP held near the 2-3 turn all the big board, but now he's approaching a 4th round pick. I said on streams many times Josh Allen was overpriced compared to Hurts and co., who always went around later. The question now is elite quarterback underpriced on the whole? Kind of seems like yes. All right. Mooney, not good company. Better than JSN though. In the Gabe Davis range though, right? Like, so yeah, not great. I think I'm gonna do an article looking at ESPN Analytics too, particularly like, because okay, you got a guy like Khalif Raymond who scores really well, and I kind of want to go through the history and see, have there been any guys year to year who feels predictive from that. Let's go Rico. Another swing at upside here. Josh Downs is nice, but this team needs running backs. And so I'm taking Brown and Dowdle, two dudes with massive upside and also a bit of downside, but most likely their floor even is just being like the 1B. So not even that much pure downside. Again, we're drafting total points teams today. If you haven't, check out this free article I did with a subscription on what makes the highest scoring teams. And if you're not up and running on drafters, which usually overlays, meaning it doesn't fill, you can use promo code Cheslium. And if you like these free streams, please like the video and subscribe. I'm on the road to 5K. I'll probably do something fun at 5K. Maybe like a 6-hour guest stream or something. Goddard is useless. Really great point you brought up there to defend your stance. Dallas Goedert can score 10 touchdowns, so cheap enough. Wow. God, I hate this group. All right, Malachi Corley. A little bit of division correlation with Curtis Samuel. He's a swing at the second wideout for the Jets, a team I think that will be good. Should we be maxing out the puppy? I mean, brother, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you need to do with your bankroll. God, I don't really like Roman Wilson either, but and he's getting negative buzz in camp. But whatever. High draft pick. Maybe the second target in Pittsburgh land. Any chance Ryan Flornay becomes the wideout 3 on Dallas? Yes, I do think there is a chance there. A lot of people have steamed up Jalen Tolbert, but Flornay is a guy I've taken once or twice. He was a rookie selected by them for those confused. And, I think in the right year, he could hit. What do we need here? Okay. Kamani Vidal. I mean, outright I took Kamani. I didn't realize some players were there still. I would have who I prefer straight up over Kamani. I got to get my rankings in for the marathon because it's annoying that they don't populate. But hopefully the guy I wanted is still there. Anyways, Kamani Vidal, kind of outright insane that a 6th round rookie has the price tag he does. At the same time, I don't like J.K. Dobbins. He's athletic, got a good 10-yard split. So he's a worthy upside gamble. Rondale Moore is greater than Jalen Tolbert. Rondale Moore is not on the same team. And Rondale Moore also got negative buzz where a guy is playing ahead of him. I had the bankroll for it. It would be less than 10% of my portfolio. Would you do it? Yeah, I like Ray Davis straight up over Kamani. So unfortunate that I moved a little bit too quick there. But yeah, hey, it could work. And I think Kamani offers more upside than Ray. I'm just more confident Ray will be a producer. Brother, really depends if you're in the mood to draft all those puppies. If you like to do the draft, sure, do it. I don't max the puppies. I don't volume draft the puppies. I just do too much stuff. Thoughts on Javon Baker? He's in that group of guys which fits the upside swing for me. Javon, McMillan, Devontae Walker. Like all those guys are drafted around the same capital in the 4th round. It's all, Walker, I think, is drawn live to be the 2 amongst wide receivers. McMillan, the 3. And Baker, I mean, Baker is drawn live to be the 1 in New England. because anyone's drawing live to be the one in New England. Now, how valuable will these roles be? Debatable. Some of them are going to bust, obviously, right? Like not every fourth round rookie is a hit. I don't think I've taken Hawkinson once, and he's obviously a worse pick in total points, unless you can carry him. Yeah, let's take Baker now. Continuing our just swing at rookies in ambiguous situations. Don't even need all of them to hit. If one of them hits in a big way, if two of them kind of hit, that could be enough. All right, let's go Algier. All right, and screw it. We'll take Daniel Jones. We're only going 10 wide receivers. I think it could be argued that 5 running backs is kind of thin to be the number one scoring team. But in theory, like Kyron's a top running back. Pollard is the goal line back. You hope he scores 10 touchdowns. Brian Robinson, you hope scores 10 touchdowns. Zeke, you're hoping is the lead back. And then Wright is playing for Miami. And if all that is happening, it's good enough. Only 2 of the players share by 2. Daniel Jones, I think it could be argued as a bad pick for this team as well, in the sense that both my quarterbacks have buys week 14. And the big question with Daniel Jones is he even playing that late in the season? Because the team could shut him down due to his injury guarantees later in the year. But he's an upside swing, whatever. You guys thought us talking about edible drafting was heady. How about this? Aaron Sandy says, y'all see the great white buffalo born in Yellowstone with the black nose and eyes? 2,000-year-old prophecy fulfilled. Wow, we got to pull this up, guys. White buffalo, Yellowstone. What is the prophecy, by the way? This is coming from ColoradoPolitics.com. Rare white buffalo calf in Yellowstone Park fulfills Lakota prophecy. Is he trying to tell us the Bills are winning the Super Bowl this year? Do we all need to mortgage our house and bet on them? Jokes, don't do that. The birth of this calf is both a blessing and warning. We must do more, said Chief Arvol, Looking Horse, the spiritual leader of the Lakota Dakota. It fulfills a Lakota prophecy that pretends better times, according to members of the American Indian tribe, who caution that it's also a signal that more must be done to protect the earth and its animals. Lakota legend says, what the hell? Am I there? I don't know if I'm here or not, but that was really annoying. I couldn't get Underdog to work because of that stupid thing. I don't know what happened, but that thing just absolutely cursed me. I got a back, which I did not want at all. I don't know if I was streaming still, but you could see me desperately trying to draft one of the tight ends. I should have grabbed my phone, is what I should have done. So unfortunately, while trying to grab 2 tight ends, I autoed Geno Smith, which is very annoying. Especially because, yeah, you're banned. Whoever brought that up, you're banned from chat. No, I'm kidding. White Bull 1, Liam 0? Dude. Oh, man. The plan was to get a second tight end who both went I wanted. Okay, one more wide receiver here. Sure, Khalif Raymond. He's going to be playing at least. So, okay, we got a Richardson, Stroud, Jones team. Kyron Pollard, Brian Robinson, Zeke, Jalen Wright. So definitely thin. Need really all these guys to hit. Puka, Nico, Hopkins, Curtis Samuel, Darnell Mooney, Malachi Corley, Roman Wilson, Javon Baker, Darius Slayton, Khalif Raymond, and then Kelsey and Schultz at tight end. High upside at all the positions. Wide receiver, definitely got a hodgepodge of dudes. Just hoping some of them hit. Got a stack for Jones and Stroud, no stack for Richardson. So pretty good team over there on drafters. Again, you can use promo code Cheslium. Major bummer on this team that, I mean, obviously I was not going to take a third quarterback having Richardson and Purdy. We auto Geno Smith. Unstacked. What does that mean for me? It means I'm going to only go 2 tight end. And I was trying to take one of Conklin or Sanat, did not get them. And then the other 2 I'll put into running back. God, so annoying. It's always these rinky-dink sites which just like overload my computer because they run too much effing ads. Also, maybe it's time for me to update my laptop. I don't know if I was streaming there, but I was desperately trying to just cue them. This is the marathon. So, hey, what if Purdy breaks his leg and then Geno Smith is the reason I win? You know, positivity. All right, I like Jonnu, but let's take Jelani Woods. Stacks with Richardson. Athletic freak. Way above ADP. With me having the Geno pick, just really can't afford the luxury of a third tight end. So I'm just going to need Goddard to be pretty good. And then Johnny Woods to give me a couple weeks. And I'm putting the other 2 darts into running back because, I mean, all of these dudes are major question marks. So I want to have 7 running backs. Positivity. What if Birdie breaks his leg? Oh, man. It's annoying when things like that happen, but just got to move on. Again, going to be going live with Pete over on his channel. One of his channels. I don't know. What if Purdy and Richardson score 3 points each one week and Geno scores 30 that week? What if, guys? Geno, of course, correlates with Purdy, so I would have been rather autoed a wide receiver. And I don't have my position limit set for drafters, so let me show you, or for the marathon. So let me show you how to do that. Limits. Let's lower that to 2 QB. Because the idea is if, like, I'm trying, the way I set my position limits is if I actually autoed the team by accident to 16. Yeah, that seems good enough. A key thing to remind about position limits is they will override your queue. So if you put players in the queue and you have a position limit that's lower than that, you're not getting that player. Will Shipley, upside swing. Saquon doesn't play. Will Shipley getting me points. I should have waited on Jelani Woods and taken one of these two dudes who I like, but whatever. What if you need Jelani Woods in the 16th round? Aaron, this is your fault. I think Aaron is in this draft and was trying to target me. Aaron DDoSed my internet to make me auto Geno Smith. Will you tweet when on Pete's live? Yeah, it's actually not clear to me if it's a live or recorded, so I'll do something. Yeah, what is this looter doing? I posted about the winning BBM2 team, and this guy, Peter Fisher, Boyd is not on the Bengals anymore, so that's not going to stack regardless. Rather than tilting, what does that even mean? Freak out and take Cam Newton? You still have to make a pick. Congratulations on grabbing an active player, I guess. Well, first off, Peter clearly wasn't here when that dude rage hit those two guys. I can't remember them. And shout out Sus Edwards, who says, learn how to read plus touch grass, Peter. Oh, man. Absolutely ratio, this dude. Touch grass, Peter. This man. Get in the grass field. Get out of here, dude. Get out of here, Peter. Is Brian Thomas Jr. a smash over Rice / McConkey ADP? I like Brian Thomas quite a bit. I take Ladd. He's definitely a little bit more risky. And I also take Rice some. But obviously we know the risk there. Let's retweet Sus Edwards. Looks like a villain in a Disney movie. Ooh. So it's so funny how many times that happens. Let's pull up another funny one because this one that I always think of. Okay. We need one running back here to win generational wealth. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Evan Hall. Please be the backup for the Colts. Correlates with Richardson, Woods, and Hall, 2 upside swings. So finishing our drafters team, we got our marathon team on Underdog. We got Anthony Richardson, Brock Purdy, Geno Smith, DeAndre Swift, Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, Kamani Badal, Tyler Algier, Will Shipley, Evan Hull. So definitely a hodgepodge of running backs. Need several guys to hit in big ways. Amon-Ra, Debo, Devonta Smith, Christian Kirk, Hopkins, Coleman, a strong group of 6. And then Goddard and Woods Definitely thin with Woods as your tight end too, but he is upside by definition. That tweet I wanted to show you, just because it's funny, is this one here, where I was very loud last year that there were so many people. You can't draft rookie tight end, guys. You can't draft rookie tight ends. They don't produce. And Jared here gave this list of here's the tight ends who are drafted between pick 20 and 30. Ingram, Fant, Eifert, Njoku, Hurst. And I added context to it, which a lot of people don't do that, right? So you got stage one, rookie tight ends don't produce. Stage two is let's see what situations they actually were in. So Ingram was with 36-year-old Eli Manning, not good. Noah Fant was with Joe Flacco, Drew Lock, and Brandon Allen, not good. Tyler Eifert was with 26-year-old Andy Dalton. Okay, maybe that one. David Njoku was with Deshaun Kaiser, not good. And Kincaid landed with Josh Allen. Laporta landed with Goff on a good team. And then this guy wrote Ingram equal Jacksonville. And I wrote Ingram was drafted to the New York Giants. He now plays for the Jaguars. Okay, so why tag him to his old QB? And I said, I don't know, Jackie. Maybe because this post is about the stats the rookie tight ends received, as you know, rookies. And some people appreciated that. Anyways, enough of shitting on Jackie and co. Hope you guys appreciated these streams. I'll be back tomorrow. Make sure you join my Discord. Link to join is below. Follow me on Twitter at ChessLiam. You subscribe to this video, help me on the road to 5K, and most importantly, have a wonderful day.